G.A. Stewart would like to compare notes with the Internet prophets. Let's talk about the Internet prophecies of great coastal inundations, or some such thing, and Nostradamus' predictions of great floods posted on G.A. Stewart's website, theageofdesolation.com, since 2007.
The land trembles in Mortara in northwest Italy. England, the island of Tin St. George, half sunk to the bottom. Peace shall sleep and war awaken. The temple cracked open during Easter.
There are a series of predictions regarding the sinking of England and the sinking of Greece by great tidal waves in both Nostradamus' quatrains and sixains. Quatrain 9-31 is where G.A. Stewart likes to begin. From Nostradamus' description, it appears that a war between NATO and Russia will begin around Easter time. A great flood in England is clearly connected to this war.
Great Britain, comprising England, will come to be inundated by high waters. The new League of Ausonia in southern Italy will make war. Against them, they will come to bend.
We know from multiple prophecies that Great Britain will be flooded and most likely cut in half, making Scotland an island. G.A. Stewart can show that this will happen after a nuclear terrorist event in Italy that he calls the second blow of steel. There is only one weapon in the world designed to create over 1,000-foot tidal waves, and that is Russia's Poseidon nuclear torpedo, which is in service now. In his 2007 book, The Age of Desolation, the repeating nature of these great coastal floodings, described in Nostradamus' writings, made G.A. Stewart believe that this flooding was due to some form of underwater nuclear weapon, especially the prophecies concerning Greece. 10 years later, in his 2017 book, Nostradamus and the Third Age of Mars, Volume 1, G.A. Stewart wrote about the rumors of Russia's so-called nuclear mole drone torpedoes. These high-yield nuclear weapons were designed to create nearly 2,000-foot tidal waves, swamping cities and coastal areas with highly radioactive cobalt. These areas would then be uninhabitable for generations. In the year 2025, these weapons are now a reality and already deployed on Russian submarines. Months after Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24, 2022, Russian television political commentators were calling for the Russian military to use the Poseidon nuclear torpedo against England. G.A. Stewart's interpretations of Nostradamus' prophecies have preceded the news by years and decades. We are waiting for the first blow of steel. G.A. Stewart believes that this nuclear terrorist event is connected to Egypt in conjunction with Israel's heinous deed. Israel's heinous deed was covered in the previous episode and comes from 6:34.
The entire world astonished by a blow of steel, strangely given by the crocodile to a very great one, relative of the leech, and shortly after there will be another blow by foul play committed against the wolf, and of such deeds one will not see the cause.
Shortly after Italy suffers from a nuclear terrorist attack that Nostradamus called the second blow of steel, England will also be brought low. Viewers should note the line, fire-resisting water, and the imagery of nuclear fire versus a tidal wave.
Shortly before or after England, by the death of the wolf, likewise put low as the earth, we'll see fire resisting water, relighting it with immense force of human blood upon the human crust made with bread, abundance of knife.
G.A. Stewart believes that once full-blown war erupts between NATO and Russia, Russia will not allow itself to be trapped in the Black Sea. There will be nuclear naval battles from the Bosporus Straits into the Aegean Sea and then into the Eastern Mediterranean. Since 2014, Greece has become a very large staging point for NATO weapons bound for Ukraine. Armament and supplies are delivered to Greek ports and shipped to Romania by railroad and trucks.
At the place where Jason built his ship, in the Bay of Volos in Greece. So great a flood and so sudden that there will be no land to attack. The wave climbs Thessaly and Mount Olympus.
Quatrain 8-16, predicting the flood in Greece, is actually part of a triplicate series that G.A. Stewart calls the Clinton Triplicate Series. He believes that Quatrain 8-14 is connected to former President Bill Clinton, and Quatrain 8-15 is connected to Hillary Clinton. G.A. Stewart believes that Quatrain 8-17 also connects to this triplicate series. The affluent suddenly cast down brings us back to Quatrain 8-14 and global economic collapse, where Nostradamus mentions the great credit of gold and abundance of silver.
The affluent suddenly cast down, by three brothers the world miserable and troubled, marine city seized by enemies, famine, fire, blood, pestilence, and all evils doubled.
This may relate to the Nostradamus prediction of a default in the gold and silver markets, and we can be sure that the three brothers are the world's three superpowers, the United States, Russia, and China. The marine city seized may refer to Taiwan or other islands that China claims in the South China Sea. These battles will all be described in detail in future episodes, but according to Nostradamus, the Russians will gain a foothold in the Balkan Peninsula and southern Italy. After a NATO fleet is destroyed in the Adriatic Sea, G.A. Stewart believes that Russia will display two of its most powerful weapons, the Sarmat missile with 10 nuclear warheads and the Poseidon nuclear torpedo. G.A. Stewart believes that after these two destructive events escalate the war, a ceasefire will be negotiated. This will be the end of Phase 1 of World War III, and what comes next will be the 3 years and 7 months of the false peace. Great Britain will be divided in two by a nuclear tidal wave, and Scotland will be turned into an island. In the United States, there will also be millions of dead from a limited nuclear war.
The Chief of London through the rule of America. The Isle of Scotland, controlled by Frost, rebel king has such a false antichrist that places everyone in the melee.
King Charles III will relocate to the United Nations in New York City, along with the British government. The rebel king is the leader of those opposing the federal government during the Second American Civil War. The Antichrist was identified in Quatrain 6-5 in Part 1 of this series. Viewers should note the reference to the pestilent wave in that prediction in conjunction with the severe cold weather.
London, the great city of the maritime ocean, surrounded by a crystalline swamp, in the winter solstice and the spring, a tempest and frightful wind.
What G.A. Stewart is trying to show viewers is that all of this will happen when a full-blown war erupts between NATO and Russia. In Nostradamus' predictions of the first blow of steel and the second blow of steel, he states that the cause will not be known. This suggests terrorism. This terrorism will quickly lead to a U.S. naval disaster and defeat, and the removal of Donald J. Trump from the presidency. This coup d'etat in America will most likely be the cause of full-blown war between NATO and Russia.
Of the aquatic triplicate will be born, one who shall make Thursday his holiday. His fame, praise, reign, and power grow, by land and sea a tempest to the Orient.
Quatrain 1-50 is part of the World War III triplicate series. The country of the aquatic triplicate is the United States, which borders the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the newly renamed Gulf of America. Is Nostradamus pointing out its vulnerability on 3 fronts to the Russian Poseidon nuclear torpedo? Consider Quatrain 10-71, examined in the first part of this series, and its reference to Barack Obama's Thursday Nobel Peace Prize ceremony.
The earth and air will freeze a great stream when they will come to venerate Thursday, he who is not so peaceful. From the 4 parts they will come to honor him.
Hopefully, viewers can recognize these repeating descriptions of the future throughout the body of Nostradamus's work. All interpretations must fit inside these interlocking pieces of the puzzle. The picture of the future, painted by the internet prophets, is woefully incomplete compared to the future first outlined by G.A. Stewart in 2007. G.A. Stewart has provided a timeline of world events that follow certain preconditions. The great coastal event presented by the internet prophets is filled with gibberish and now way overdue. In 2007, G.A. Stewart first wrote that these great global coastal events were all related to war. YouTube viewers will have to decide who is selling the real thing.